Hello everyone and welcome to Blind Beauty. I'm Jennifer. What we're going to do today is we are going to do a full face first impressions video. Now I'm using a different software program that I normally don't use, so I'm trying this out. And I'm going to show you real quick what we're going to be using. Well, the basket of the products at least. So right here is the products I'm going to be using, right here. And I will be zooming you in from time to time so that you're a little bit closer. So, the products I'm going to be using, right here. And I will be zooming you in from time to time so that you're a little bit closer. So, you know, hopefully that will help. Now, I've never done this type of thing, well, where it's complete first impressions for the full face. So this is going to be all products I have never used before. I'm pushing my hair off my face here. And I'll be looking over to my right, possibly your left, from time to time because I have a mirror over here. Now, if you want to see what else products I have besides these right here, I did a collection video recently before I got this awesome gift from Miranda Wrights. I'll leave her channel down below. She is so sweet. She sent me a whole bunch of products, including these and some of these over here. So, and this is going to be featuring the Beige Cosmetic 88 Neutral Palette. So, I'll be using that in this tutorial. As well as some new brushes. And some brushes that I haven't used in a long time. So it'll practically be first impressions for me. So we're going to jump on in here and get started. Now, for me, normally I don't use this primer, so I'm going to use it today. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. It's practically brand new. I've only used it a couple times. So it's somewhat like a first impression for me because it's been so long and everything. It's hard to shake down. So I guess this is one you don't want to leave laying on its side because it is rather thick. And mostly what I'll be doing is I'll be pausing in between while I'm putting stuff on. Now this primer, I thought I'd put it mainly on my T-zone, under my eyes, a little on the eyes, but not a lot. But focusing it more on the T-zone where I typically get oily. I don't always prime whenever I do my makeup, but I thought for the sake of this we would. But now we're going to jump into foundation. Now, like what I was saying, I'm going to probably go quiet during putting this on, and then I'll talk to you about my first impressions. So, I'm going to be using, well actually, at first I'll be talking through it, because I'm going to use this little silicone type blender. I've never used one of these before. It kind of reminds me of the shape of the Real Techniques sponge. Now my Real Techniques sponge isn't damp, so we're going with this. Then I'll be using a brush to blend it out if need be. So, but flip my mirror around here. Okay. So we're going to jump on into the foundation. The foundation I'm using is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. Now I'm going to zoom you in some so that you can see more of what I'm doing here. Okay, I zoomed you in more so that you could see closer. But what we're going to be using is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. Looks like that right there. And I'm going to be using this silicone sponge. I'll show you a close-up of that as well. And I'll probably have some cool first impressions on this. I've never used this. I'm not 100% if it will match, but we're going to give it our best shot. Hopefully once I blend it out, if it doesn't match, that it will. I'm taking, whoops, we're going to start with a small amount here. Well, fairly small, because I've heard that silicone blender doesn't take a whole lot. Putting about a little bit more than a pea size, I guess, amount on my finger. And I'm going to just dot this all over the skin first. Now I've heard that you can take that silicone blender and put it directly on the blender. Now I'm taking just a little bit more of this and dotting it on as well. That you can put it on your finger and then work it in that way. Like put it on the back of your hand and use it. But, you know, I'm just trying to do this way today. Now, I'm using this silicone blender and I'm going to try to blend it out best I can with this. Looks like that right there. Now I'm just going to do a tapping and possibly a rubbing motion as well. Pull my hair up out of my face here. I don't know whether this was just too thick for that blender. I don't consider it a full-on coverage. So now I'm going to put a little bit more on my hands and go in. And that'll tell me more of, you know, what I like about the feel and all that. Putting a little bit more. And we're going to focus this more on areas that might need a little bit more attention. I'm going to scoot up a little bit here. Put it on my middle finger, and like I said, I'm focusing this on areas that need a little bit more attention. Like under my chin. And I'm putting some in the corners of the eyes. Now this seems to dry pretty quick, so. Yeah, it does. It dries real quick. So this is one thing that my suggestion would be to do one half of the face and then go in and do the other half. I'm using my hands instead of the brush to blend it out, just because that's what I'm comfortable with. Now that right there is what this looks like. Now I'm going to zoom you back out. And we're going to do powder and all that. So I thought I'd zoom in for this part of it. Okay, so that right there is the foundation. I kind of like how it feels on the skin. And it seems to actually match me fairly well, at least in my vision. You know. So, but you know, that right there is the foundation. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this Kokie Cushion Concealer. It's in 10C. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the shade of it, 10C. It doesn't say whether that's medium, light, whatnot, but it's a cushion one like that. And I am taking you can use a sponge, you can use all sorts of different things with this. I'm just using a flat brush like this. And I'm going to go into it first with that and see how it does. And I'm going on the inner corner. Okay, I can say right now I don't like using it with a brush. So, we're going to go in with my finger, and that's the shade of it on my finger. I'm going to tap it in on the under eye, and I'm literally just doing dabbing type motions on the inner corner of the under eye, basically where I have trouble areas. And I'll blend it out here in just a second. It feels really silky. Almost slippery. And I'm doing it the same thing on the other side. With this, what I'm doing is I'm pushing down into it, and I'm going in a slight triangle under the eye. So, I really like this. This feels really good putting it on. And I am putting it somewhat on the inner corner, actual inner corner of my eye as well, in that little cavern. So, I'm not doing huge highlighting because we've got other products that we're going to be using for that. That right there is what that looks like. Come in a little closer for you. Okay. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Wet n Wild highlight. It's an 800. When the nude strikes, I think is what it says here. Looks like this right here in the tube. Now I'll do a quick swatch to show you what it looks like. Now some of these products I did swatches in the little video the live video where I showed all these products here, unbagging them. So, you know, I won't be swatching every single thing, but now make sure my hair is out of the way here. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm sure that you could use a brush, like I could use this little brush like this if I wanted to, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to actually apply it directly from the tube. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this and go on the high points of my cheeks, down the nose, Cupid's bow, middle of the chin, you know, where I typically highlight. So, I probably will go quiet for this part, and then I'll come back once it's all blended out and everything. Because I'm going to just use my fingers to blend it out. Now let me put this lid back on here. And some of this stuff, I'm putting it over here in this little thing behind me. So, you know, because that's something I'm using for testing purposes and whatnot right now. And then I'm going to use that brush I showed you for powder here in a moment. But I'm just using my fingers to blend this out. Gorgeous. Alright. Now, a lot of times I will use a big fluffy brush to do my powder, but for today, I'm just using this more. Actually, no, I'm not either. Okay. Now for highlight, or for powder, I am using the LA Girl Pro Powder. It's a HD setting powder. Looks like this right here. So, yeah, it does come with a little puff here. Throw it behind me. And I'm using a big fluffy brush here. It's got some translucent powder that you're seeing come up right now anyway. Because that's what I typically use, a fluffy brush like that. I've got to clean all my brushes. But I did a basic clean of several of them recently. But this right here, once you turn the thing over, whoops, and I just poured it right out of there. Some of it has a real silky feel, I can say that much. But that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to dip my brush in real good, and then I'm going to just set my face, and then I'll come back and talk to you about that as well. Now I'm going to avoid the areas that I highlighted more, but focus it on the rest of it. Now I did go over real lightly the areas I highlighted after all, but, you know, that's just kind of blend it, really. But I didn't put any extra product on there, so. That Cupid's bow is kind of screaming at me right now. Okay, now we're going to jump into contour and highlight and all that. And I'm using the Rimmel by Kate. It's a highlighter, contour, and blush palette. Now it has on the back where they recommend doing everything, but I'm going to go with what I typically do. It's a 002 Coral. And if you watched my most recent collection video, you know that I love some coral blush. Now, what we're going to start with, because this is the order I typically do it in anyway, I'm going to start with the contour. Now, this is a Maybelline contour brush. Yeah. It's a contour brush by Maybelline. It looks like this right here. It's a different shaped one than others. And I plan on doing a full review on this. It has like a, almost an S shape if you hold it sideways. You know, instead of a typical, the brush head is the S type shape. So I'm going to go into that contour. I always tap off my brush a little bit. Now I'm going to do this on my cheek, like under my cheekbones, like I typically would. And I'm going to try it one way and hopefully it will work, because hopefully it'll blend it out this way too. I'm taking it and putting the bigger part in the hollow of my cheek. I think this will be a great brush for beginners. Doing it right in the hollow of the cheek and pulling it in. And I'm kind of blending it up a little bit onto the actual cheek. Now this is at least in my opinion, let me put it this way, because with my vision, I can't see everything as well as other people. In my opinion, this is a nice natural looking contour for me. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. You go right at the hollow of the cheek, you know, and you can go near the top of the ear and you can find the hollow that way. But for me, I've done it enough times to know. But I find that hollow and put that big part in there, and then I'm pulling it down. Basically kind of just following the hollow. Follow the hollow, follow the hollow. Okay, yes, I'm being a little bit goofy. But, you know, but yeah. And then I'm blending that out as well. And you could take it and go under, like, go as far in as you want to, or as far down as you want to. But for me, I typically do something like this here, or I'll even do a triangular shape sometimes as well. Seems to help a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with a regular blush brush. This is from UCanB. I wish that they still sold these brushes, because they are some awesome brushes. But, you know, they don't. So, because I've looked, I've tried to find them. And this blush will actually go with the shirt I'm wearing. But I'm really swirling my brush in. And I tend to tap off the excess. And I'm going to put it right on the apple of my cheek. I'm going to really swirl it on there. Then I pull it back. I'll swirl it, then pull it. Now that's the blush. Now I'm going to take my small tapered brush. I've actually got to get another one of these because these are some great brushes, really. I'm going to take it and I'm going to go into the highlight color. It's the very top one. On this it goes highlight, contour, blush, by the way. And that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to go over the highlight that we've already done. Now I'm going to take that big dense brush and kind of blend everything together so it all looks seamlessly. Now, just for kicks and giggles here, I'm going to take that same palette. And we're also going to contour the nose. Since we highlighted the nose, why not contour too, right? Right. And I'm using a Real Techniques brush here to do this. Now, I tend to pinch it together because I'm just using a regular eyeshadow brush here. And I do it fairly lightly on the nose area. This is what I'd consider a natural contour color for me. That right there. Now this right here, the contour, the blush and contour palette, or rather it says blush, actually it doesn't have the actual name of it on it. It just says it's by Kate. This Rimmel palette is really a good palette. This is only the second thing I've ever tried, I think, from, well, third. This is, besides foundations and primers and eyeliners, this is the first actual face product I've ever tried from them. Kind of getting lost in what I'm saying here. Put this behind me as well. And I loved this contour brush. This really made it easy to contour. You know. Now let me flip my mirror back around here. Yeah, I really like that. That looks really pretty. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to move on to the actual eyes. Because, you know, if you can tell, we've already done almost everything else. I've already put everything else up, or wherever, so, you know. Now we're going to move on to the actual eyes. Now before we do anything, it's important to prime the eyes. Now I've never used any of the Maybelline Master Prime stuff. This is their eye primer. I'm going to take it and put it on the lids. Put this on my lids and kind of blend it in. And I'm going to go all the way to the brow bone. Probably too much, but we will see once I get it blended up. And I'm even going to take it, I think, further than that, but we'll see. Very silky feeling to me. Really silky. I used to own the Milani eye primer, and this feels even better than that. Because if any of y'all watch Emily Noel, or, you know, different YouTubers use different primers, and this one right here is an awesome primer. You know, and it feels like it's going to dry down nicely too, because it's already drying down as I'm putting it on. So, alright. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, now I've got different products here, you know, like I've shown you. So, I'm going to be using mostly, well, the only brushes I'm going to be using, actually, are these Royal and Langnickel brushes. This looks like a really neat little duo here. It has a really fluffy sided one that I'll probably use more for the crease. Then it has a real short brush that could be great for smudging or defining. And then it has this other flatter type brush that kind of reminds me of the Eco Tools one. This does remind me a little bit of that, but it's so much softer. So we shall see what happens with this. And since I let that set for a minute, we're going to go in and, now I haven't tried this look out. This is a first impressions. I haven't tried any of these colors on my eyes yet. That right there. Okay. Now I'm going to be taking, let me find the color here again. Okay, it is the 4th row over, 3rd one from the top, whenever you're looking at a mirror side up, but in this case over, it is the 4th row from the end here, and the 3rd row down. It's a, to me it's a light peachy color. Now I'm going to take that, and I'm going to use that fluffy type brush. We're going to start out with that there. And that's what it looks like on the brush. And I'm really going to put this all over the lid. Now let me zoom you in. Okay. Now you can even see the contour and everything a little bit better too. So, but that right there is what it looks like so far. Now, like I said, we're using this palette here. Now, what I'm going to do probably is I'll be cutting out part of the thing, possibly, but we are using this shade right here, right there. I wanted to zoom in so that y'all could see it a little bit better. Hopefully I won't go out of frame. I tried to readjust things a little bit, but I tapped off some of the excess here. And I'm really just going to put this all over. Now I'm going to go all the way to the brow bone with this here. This right here, what I'm doing, it just helps to set the eyes a little bit. And then I'm going to take the one that has the one side to it of the Royal and Langnickel brushes right here. And I'm going to go, we're going to start here, well, not really start because we've already started, but this is the 4th one. Basically go 4 and 4. We're going into this peachy shade. It's the light peachy. Now I'm not completely sure what look I'm going for yet with this. Like I said, I haven't tried this out yet. But that's the shade I'm going to put on pretty much the inner third here. And I'm getting it more on the side of this brush than on the end of it, because I'm really going to press this onto the inner third. also got the little inner tear duct area a little bit too with this. That's okay. Now I'm going to flip it over here, and I'm going to use, it's a deeper peachy color, right there. It's the fourth one over still, but the very top one if you're looking at it upside down, like you were. And I'm going to put this on the, pretty much the rest of the lid, but then I'm going to go in with another color and do the crease and outer V and all that. I tend to focus, whenever I'm doing this on my own, I go with the lid color sometimes first before I do anything else. So. That right there. Now then, let's take very powdery, but it still is real pretty. Now we're taking the sixth one down on the end here. Now I'm going to be putting this actually in the crease, in the actual crease, and blowing it out a little bit. And I'm using this same brush that we've been using. Dip into that and swirl it around. This is a pretty palette, it's just sometimes hard to get a lot of product on your brush. Now then, I'm going to take my little doodad over here. This is a actual hair bun thing, and I'm just kind of cleaning off my brush a little bit. Believe it or not, this works pretty good, and then you can wash the thing. So, cleaning off my brush a little bit here so that I'm not getting right there. Okay. Now I'm going to go into the second color down, go into that a little bit, and use it more on the outer third in the crease area. Now I will be focusing this a little bit on the outer V as well. That's a really good brush. That one is. Now let's switch over to the other brush here. And I'm going into this light peachy color right here. Let me do a quick swatch for you here. It's a real light peachy color right there. So we're going to take that. I'm going to kind of buff out the edges of this other, kind of like as a transition almost. Almost, not quite, but almost. So, do that. And then we're going to take I think that first shade we used. Yeah, I'm going to go into that first shade we used and use that right under the brow. Alright. Now let's take that brownie color I used in the outer V, the second one down here. And I'm going to put that on this lower lash line a little bit, using this small side of the brush. I wanted to go with a more neutrally, well, it's not really neutral, it's a warm tone, but, you know, still a really pretty eye look. Now, since you're still zoomed in, I'm going to be using this Maybelline Brow Duo Fill. It's the Fill and Define, or Define and Fill Duo. Now, I watched some tutorials recently on this. Well, actually, I had seen it a long time ago whenever she originally did it. Emily Noel did a review of this thing. And I'm pulling up, rolling it up just a little bit. And I'm going to use the pencil side first. That's what she did as well. And I'm going to fill in my brows. I'll come in a little closer for a moment to show you. I've tried to straighten up my brows a little bit and went overboard in some areas. So we're going to see how well this fixes my eyebrows here. So, using my little mirror down here. I'm doing small strokes, just trying to fill them in a little bit. Well, okay, I guess this is a little harder than the e.l.f. Or actually, it's a little harder even than their Master Precise that they have. It's a stiffer formula, rather. Seems to not really want to deposit color as well. That right there is the pencil side. Now then, it has this little other side that has your powder in it, and it has a spring-loaded thing there. And whenever you pull it out, it has a little bit of product. So, and this just helps give the more natural look to them. I would say go with the Maybelline Definer Brow, and then get you a brow powder, you know, to go on top. But this right here, it does look pretty natural. It just isn't meant for people that have messed up their brows like I have. We're going in with the Wet n Wild MegaLiner. I showed this in my collection, my makeup collection thing, but believe it or not, I've never used this before. So we're going to try it out together. Okay. That's what the tip looks like. Okay, this is going to be rather difficult for me, I can already tell that. But we're going to give it a best shot here. We are going to curl the lashes. And this is the Total Tease Mascara by Covergirl. I think this is the original formula instead of the waterproof. But it has regular bristles on one side and then it has a comb on the other. Now the comb, I believe, is to help brush out clumps. But we're going to give this a shot here. I'm going to sit back a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm having issues seeing today. That right there is liner and mascara. Okay, now what we're going to do, the last step, is to do a lipstick. This is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink lipstick. And this is in the shade 45 Escapist, I believe is what this says here. It's this purpley looking color. Now, I haven't even put this on my lips yet, so we are doing this literally together. Looks like this right here. It has a little hole in it where it holds some of the color, I believe. Let's do a quick run through of what all we've done today. The first product I used really was the L'Oreal Infallible Total Coverage. Now this to me applied better with my hands than it did the silicone sponge. I'm going to try that silicone sponge with other products in different ways before I do a full-on review on that. Any of these products that you would like to see a full-on review on, let me know, because I used the L'Oreal Total Cover today, the Infallible Total Cover in Natural Beige, and that did do a pretty decent job. You know, I wouldn't say it had bam in your face coverage, but I'm sure it can be built up more. I just don't usually put more than 1 or 2 layers of this on, and I did 2 thin layers today, so, or what I consider thin layers. But, you know, I consider this medium that might be able to be built up more. I didn't try that, so I'm going to try this out some more, and I'll do a review on that if y'all would like to see it. But I did really enjoy that foundation. And then another thing we did was I used the Rimmel palette. Now this would be good for a real light, more natural look contour in my book. But this is a really good product too. I don't think there was a single thing in this that I didn't like. Now this powder right here, this is the LA Girl Pro powder. I really did like this. I plan on doing a comparison between this and my Kokie Airspun soon. So, and then this Wet n Wild highlight, it is beautiful. It has such a beautiful pigmentation and really beautiful put on too, to where you can blend it out to where it's not as in your face, or you can leave it as is, you know, whichever you prefer. Then this Maybelline Master Prime, I think I found my new favorite eyelid primer. I really do. This is awesome. Okay, but, you know, all these products were really good. Now this here, it's been slowly drying while I've been talking. It's still rather sticky on my lips. So it probably takes quite a while to dry. But that's okay, because, you know, I don't know how this will feel once it is completely dry, because I have dealt with some that were pretty, felt like you were wearing a mask on your lips, like that if you talked you would crack the entire thing. But I don't think this is going to be quite like that, but we will see what this does, and I'll probably be doing a review on this as well if y'all would like to see that. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and let me know what products that I've mentioned that you would like to see a full review on down below, and I'll be happy to do that. Tomorrow I'm hoping to have another video up on how to relax, so I hope that you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I do that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.